My brother insulted my late wife over her whiskey, so I beat the crap out of him. Now, my family is furious, but I don't give a damn. Hi, long-time lurker here. I created this throwaway for obvious reasons. I'm a 47-year-old male and a widower. My wife passed away 4 years ago from a prolonged illness. I won't get into the details except to say it destroyed me. My 2 kids, a 22-year-old male and a 20-year-old female, took it as hard as I did and see therapists at least twice a month. I've never gone to therapy because of my parents' mindset that you have to stay strong and not show your pain. I realize this is unhealthy and have taken up hobbies and activities that help me deal with the crushing loss of my wife. I've always tried to be a rock for my kids, and most of the time it worked except when it didn't. I have a younger brother, who I will call Sam, a fake name. He's 39 years old, the classical golden child, because I was the mistake that resulted in my folks' shotgun wedding, while Sam was planned. I had to work for everything while everything was handed to him. I never resented him for this because this dynamic was of my parents' making. I moved away at 20, and a few years later, I met my wife and started our family. Then she died. I never found anyone to connect to, though I've certainly had the occasional hookup, but nothing romantic. Now to the story. Sam came over last night, interrupting my game night. Yeah, I'm a D&D nerd, which I didn't mind. What I did mind was him getting into my liquor cabinet and starting in on a bottle of Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select whiskey. My wife found a bottle for me because she knew I loved good whiskey. He drank nearly a third before I found out and berated him for it, telling him to put it back. He said, "Your wife had good taste. You're lucky I never tasted her when I had the chance." Everyone went silent in shock. I felt myself go numb, and the next thing I knew, he was on the floor, and I was mercilessly pounding on him. My friends dragged me off. Sam looked like he tried to French kiss a runaway train. Blood everywhere, broken nose, lost a front tooth. For the first time in my life, Sam looked scared of me. One of my friends took him to the emergency room, and the night was over. They always do on weekends for dinner and a movie, and found me in the basement, bawling my eyes out. I told them I was having a moment of grief over Mom being gone, but I don't think they believe me. We held each other for a while, then watched The Princess Bride. I accept what I did was wrong, but I don't care. I'll take whatever punishment comes if Sam presses charges. I just don't care. I know my parents will be twisted up about this, and so will Sam's wife, but I don't care. The only thing I care about is my kids, and they are moving on with their lives. I get that I'm an idiot, just wanted to vent. Feel free to roast me until I'm well done. Thank you. Some relevant comments. My brother told me I should probably slaughter myself. Apparently, I broke his arm. F the guy. It's the ones closest to you who know how to hurt you. While my baby brother, who I raised, turned his back on me because his witch of a wife was jealous. How close we were. She wanted to control him and manipulated him by playing victim nonstop. She was upset that we talked every day. Well, after about a decade of depression and self-slaughter ideation, I came to the conclusion that sometimes you just reach the end of the road with people. Sibling relationships are forced, and you have a choice as an adult to be happy with the family you create or be unhappy with the family you came from. I chose the former and have had the closest relationship with my wife and kids. It was a struggle to find peace every day until it wasn't. Give yourself some grace. Your brother was practically begging for a sass swap. What he got was what your parents should have given him a long time ago. And I do think you should tell people exactly what happened. Publicize what your brother said, especially his wife and your parents. Unfortunately for you, that evening, murder wasn't legal. Feel free to let your adult children know what their idiot uncle said. I've cut contact with him from my family for the rest of my days. Same with your parents if they side with him. Good luck. Please keep us apprised. Absolutely tell everyone what he said. Shouted from the rooftops. Also, as someone who came from a stereotypical German family where you don't acknowledge your problems and just keep your head up, I get it. But therapy is wonderful and cathartic. And it works. Oh love, I have to say, I do not condone violence, but you are so in your right to beat the living daylights out of your dumb sass brother. His comment was not just insensitive but incredibly offensive. Talk to your kids about it. They will support you. Please open up to them. They need you as you need them. Sending you love, hugs, and good vibes. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate what's said, but do it. Your kids need to know that you are hurting too. They are probably being strong for you, let them in and heal together. Great advice here, OP. Let your children in, get therapy if necessary. Forget those old myths. Being strong is doing what you need to do to move on and be strong. Please trust me on this. Please keep us updated. Strange days indeed. Let me put this out there for everyone. My brother is usually a nice guy, if a bit entitled. I don't hate him, just angry at what he said. We usually get along. That being said, I am going to go LC for a while until I get my head sorted. A little clarification on the timeline here. Sunday, D&D at my place until 6 p.m. Then the kids come over and we do our family thing. Sam came over about 4:30 to visit, and I think he was irked I didn't end the game immediately to pay attention to him. Fists flew around 5:15, and Sam went to the hospital shortly thereafter. It was my wonderful friend and DM, Dean, who drove him to the emergency room. Update. Monday night yesterday, I got home and was considering DoorDash when the kids came over. Immediately, I'm wrapped in their arms as they start hugging the stuffing out of me. My daughter says, "We know, Daddy. It's okay." Over and over again. She hasn't called me Daddy since her mom died. So this hit me hard. The next thing I know, we're all on the floor, hugging each other as I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm talking serious steel magnolia, full-on crying. I could barely breathe. It was Dean. He contacted my kids and told them what's up. He then made Sam call Sam's wife, 35, female, call her Ruby, and explain why he looks like ground beef. Apparently, the kids and Ruby got to the hospital, and my daughter and Ruby absolutely effing railed on Sam until security told them to leave. My daughter, in her infinite wisdom, told my son to give me some time to decompress. Then, they decided on a plan of action, which was to hug bomb me. Man, it felt good, that is until my folks came over a half hour later. Seems that Ruby called them to give them the scoop and to tell them that Sam will be going incommunicado until Sam and Ruby get some MC. Apparently, she was so angry as to be nearly incoherent. I'm still on the floor next to the couch when Dad started to lay into me. Now, my daughter is 105 pounds soaking wet, in a hellacious Spitfire, takes after her mom. She jumps up and tells Dad to back the F off. Of course, Dad doesn't like this, so while Mom is all weepy, he tries to physically intimidate her. This is where my son comes in. You see, he's my height, upper middle short, but he is a trainer at a gym and teaches yoga. My dad is a big man, but he's out of shape. For my son, it's a full-time job. He faces Dad and says, "No," very quietly. Dad actually backed up. I've never seen him back down before. I think it was because my son was practically glowing with anger. He has always been fiercely protective of his little sister. Daughter cuts in with a rant, saying they will both go no contact with my folks if they don't back off. She meant every single word. Folks couldn't leave fast enough. As for me, I knew what I had to do. I got the JD Sinatra from the liquor cabinet and split it between the three of us. Told them their mom would be proud as punch of them and would want us to drink a toast to our family and to her. We finished the bottle. Note on Ruby. She loves my brother dearly and has made him a better man than he used to be, but doesn't put up with his BS. I like her. She's better than what he deserves by far. Talk about punching above your weight. This morning, after the kids left, she sent me a wall of text, Spitfire Sam, and told me he's going to make a sincere apology soon if he wants to stay married. I have decided to go LC with Mom and Dad for a bit and promise my kids I will seek therapy. I took the day off. I'm the boss, it's my company, so ain't that cool? To start the search, the kids left after staying in their old rooms for the night. I insisted since they drank. Right now, I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm going to choose a therapist and then binge season 6 of Supernatural. As for the kids, they're coming over tonight, and we're going to watch the Carnivale version of Dread. Despite everything, I'm a lucky man. To all of you, thanks for the words of support. To the people who think this is fake, that's cool. I wish it was. Then my hands wouldn't hurt so much. I need to get my head on straight and deal with my trauma in a healthy manner. I think this will be my last post. I'm done venting and need to work on me. As for Dean, I'm going to buy him a bottle of Chateau's Royal Salute. He's a good egg. Thank you all so much, kind internet strangers. Story 2. I can't believe I ever had to make a post about my mother, but here we are. My 45-year-old mother and I have a difficult relationship. My mother was an old-school, traditional wife. She was a homemaker, never did any work outside the house, and had far more kids than what I think is healthy: 7 girls and 6 boys. She is originally from Guatemala and came to the U.S. when she was 14. She married my father here, had her family here, and tried to make sure my siblings and I had old-school values, something she really failed at. Most of my siblings are as far from my mother as humanly possible. 2 of them, sadly, passed away. I'm the only one who stayed near to take care of my parents, and since Dad died, I've taken my mother's bills so she can live comfortably. She's always been a dramatic headache, especially when it came to my marriage. She babied my husband, always took his side, and I only wanted 1 kid. But my husband wanted as many as biologically possible. He had told me he also only wanted 1 when we talked about marriage. My mother helped him mess with my birth control, so I got pregnant with my youngest. I don't regret my youngest daughter, but after she was born, I secretly had my tubes tied. My mother always berated me for being faulty, since I only had 2 children. That's not counting how she berated me for marrying old. I married at 22. She married at 16. My husband was 49 when he died in a car crash recently. We shared 2 daughters, aged 14 and 16. He was also having an affair with a girl since 2020. The girl was 24 when she died together. They had twin boys early this year, who thankfully survived the crash. My daughters found out the affair first when their father took them to the hospital to meet the babies and told the girls to keep it secret from me. They didn't, and my husband became abusive towards them and myself. We were in the divorce process when he died. When my husband's affair came out, my mother blamed me. She said it was because I was a working woman that didn't please her husband, that I didn't give him enough children, that I was pretty, or more. I'm not going to say I'm super attractive, but I think I look good for my age. I've kept my weight well enough, and I look relatively young for my actual age. But no, according to my dear mother, I wasn't good enough for my husband, who needed a girl closer in age to our daughters than to him. She also was in the group of people angry at me when I refused to adopt my husband's affair children. Her newest crazy is she's trying to find husbands for my daughters, mainly focused on my eldest. This crazy plan started this week when my eldest came out to us. I had an idea, and I'm happy she felt comfortable enough in this massive mess to still tell me and her sister. My daughter also decided to tell my mother about it. My mother just ended the call, then called me to scream about how confused and sick my daughter is. She's linked me to conversion camps, psychologists that claim homosexuality is a sickness, wackos in my opinion, political articles, etc. She even wanted to see about doing an exorcism. I told her to stop it or she would be in no contact with my in-laws. She stopped for literally 24 hours. The next thing I get is a Facebook message from a man in his mid-20s asking if it was true that I was looking to marry out my 16-year-old daughter. I told him he was sick and blocked him. I got 6 more through the night. Then my mother called, saying she found husband prospects for my girls. My high school-aged girls. Angry has been an understatement. She even gave some of these men my daughter's cell phone numbers. We're all getting new phone numbers tomorrow, and I had the girls put their social medias into private. I don't know what part of the brain is broken in my mother's brain. I had the girls block their grandmother and everything, and I'm stopping payments to anything that my mother needs. I know I need to call the cops. I just never thought I would need to call the cops on my own mother. It's been only 2 weeks since I had to cut my in-laws. I'm just exhausted, and please do not think this is a normal Hispanic thing, it's not. My aunts are amazing women, most of them also homemakers. They are actually on my side of cutting off my mother and calling the cops. They even suggested for my daughters and I to move closer to them in another state. This is just my mother being insane. Small update. We went to the police today, and they took all the information I had. The officer we spoke to was incredible and immediately helped my lawyer with all that was needed for a temporary ARL. We'll be filing it this week and hopefully get it within the month. After that, we'll focus on a permanent RL. This is on my mother and any third party on her behalf. The officer was also kind enough to offer to check on us in our house at least once a day. School has also been notified of the situation, and one of my brothers is going to come live with my daughters and I until we decide where and when we move. I can't just up and pack everything since I still have a job, and my girls are in the middle of the school year. For now, we're safe and my girls have new phone numbers. Some comments make a report to Child Protective Services is a huge red flag for potential sex trafficking and grooming, amongst other things. She should have legal consequences for this, and at the very least, this could get you a restraining order to keep Pimp Granny away from any other children she has access to. They could be in danger. I'm going tomorrow to the police with my daughters. You're doing the right thing. I'm Hispanic too, and I understand how much of a cultural mess this is to deal with. I'm sorry your mother did something so arrogant and selfish that put your family at risk. CPS still needs a report to be made to protect the other children your mother may have access to. CPS and the police are two different agencies. Even if nothing significant comes from the CPS report, it's best to have it as documentation, just in case. This is potentially sex trafficking at the very least. I'd be concerned about how far she's taken this and how much further she would go. She's probably sent pictures and info on your girls to these pedophiles. She's already shared contact information. If she shared your address, just from your phone number, anyone can find your address online. That can be used to figure out the girls' schools. This has big, scary implications and is more of a threat than any loving mother would want to face. I'd be concerned that Granny might have gotten something out of trying to marry off your girls. This is a really scary situation to be in, but you're doing the right thing by going to the police. That's the first step in safeguarding your family. I don't know if she shared my address, which is why I'm staying with my daughters elsewhere. We're doing the police first to have a report to send to CPS for a paper trail. Make sure your daughter's school does not release them to Granny if she shows up trying to take them. She's never been a person authorized to take the girls out, so I'm not as worried. My girls take a private school bus back home, so the school itself is probably the safest. It wouldn't hurt to reiterate to the school office the fact that she is not authorized to pick them up. In fact, you could print a flyer with her picture, name in a red circle with an X, and ask them to post it in the office and teacher lounge. If she is as manipulative as she seems, she could probably find a way to pick them up. Better safe than sorry. Story 3. I, 50 female M, rent a place along a river in Ontario, Canada, for 10 to 14 days. My rental includes exclusive use of a cabin, a private deck with a hot tub, and a furnished gazebo. Mine is the only rental with a gazebo. Just east of my place is another smaller cabin with just a dock and a hot tub. I get back from a quick grocery shopping expedition as I am unpacking my car when a young woman walks over and climbs on my deck. She has obviously either just showered or just gotten out of the hot tub. She's in a bathrobe and says, "Hi, I just wanted to stop by and tell you that me and my partner will be doing a photo shoot in the gazebo tomorrow morning. Just letting you know as a courtesy since we will be moving your boats out for the photo shoot. Don't worry, we will put them back." The gazebo is attached to the deck, which surrounds my rental cabin. My kayaks are in the gazebo, and when rain is forecast, it's been raining on and off all day. I have exclusive use of the entire area. No one from the other rentals is supposed to come near my area. This information is part of the owner orientation for all new arrivals. I'm standing at my cabin door with grocery bags in my hands, dumbfounded that she thinks she can take over the gazebo that is part of my rental. "So, are you staying here alone or do you have your husband and kids with you? Do you own the cabin? How much did it cost? How long have you been here?" she asks. Rapid-fire questions with no pauses for answers. "Me, you are in my private space. Please leave." "I'm just being friendly," she says, but her tone is snippy. "No, you are intruding on my space and invading my privacy. Your questions are intrusive and creepy. You will not be doing a photo shoot tomorrow or any time in my gazebo. Please leave now." "No need to get snippy," she says in a snippy tone. "We are doing the shoot tomorrow, so you better not interfere. Given your attitude, I think it's best that you head into town by 8. Don't come back before 2. "Me, not happening. Get off my deck. Get out of my space now. She stamps her foot. You are being unreasonable. You're the only one with a gazebo. You need to share. No, I don't. Leave now. She continues, walking into the cabin, locking the door, and immediately messaging the owner. I've been renting here for years. The owner and I have become friends. They didn't show up for their photo shoot and the owner had to chase them out of the rental the next morning. They were still in bed an hour past checkout time. Relevant comments, wow. We're having a photo shoot in your gazebo. We're going to move your boats, and maybe you should just leave the house for the day. I have a theoretical question. What if the neighbors approached you and asked for your permission? You would still be 100% in your rights to deny the request, and I would not blame you one bit. But would there be any circumstances in which you would permit it? I would have allowed it, but with a strict time limit. And I wouldn't have left my rental. It's the largest, most private, and well-appointed. My view is spectacular. Last year, I let a young couple with a toddler spend a rainy afternoon in the gazebo. Their cabin was small, and the deck was uncovered. I'm petty. I would have said okay and made sure to be sitting on my deck with a drink and some death metal. In hindsight, I wish I had just shrugged and gone into my cabin. I would have waited and, when they showed up the next morning, done my own photo shoot of their photo shoot, immediately before calling/texting the owners. When they left the next day, they had a cart full of stuff, including lighting, umbrellas, I'm not sure what they are called. They bounced the light at the subject, so they had obviously planned to do this well in advance.